Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in this pandemic wrapped fast forward planet that in the United States is just in the midst of one of the greatest transitions in our political history, I think, if this plays out peacefully. We've had a momentous election that took 4 days to resolve, and we are in celebratory mode here for democracy and for just humanity. Whatever you think of the race and who won or lost, I think most of us on this call had a clear preference for science, for progress, for empathy, community, and those factors are all aligned on one side of the ballot this year. So, but this is a nonpartisan Earth Institute broadcast. I'm Andy Revkin, and I'm going to start out with one of the most potent, powerful, and complex songs ever about America. And it was written by a Canadian, the dear departed Leonard Cohen. And then we're going to get into some wonderful music with some good friends and talk a little bit, pick a little bit, have a wonderful dose of hammered dulcimer, all kinds of magic coming. But we're starting with Leonard Cohen, Democracy. Wow. So, good morning, everyone. I mean, every word in that song, every stanza has complexity and hope, and sort of a nonpartisan exploration of where we're at. You know, it was written many, many years ago. O mighty ship of state, sail on to the shores of need, past the reach of greed, through the squalls of hate. There isn't a line in there that resonate right now very powerfully. Good morning again, everybody. This is Andy Revkin with the Earth Institute of Columbia University. And our regular Sunday song and story swap is underway. We have wonderful guests coming. More have popped up, and I'm going to just introduce everyone here for the moment. And there are more coming yet in the second half of the show, including Claudia Gibson, great songwriter in Texas, and Reggie Harris, who was on the show last week, talking from his special vantage point, having a life as a Black storyteller and singer and activist, and a great-great-great-grandfather who was Wickham, the slaveholder, whose statue was toppled in June, who's become reconciling with his white side of his family. So it's going to be a rich morning. We'll go as long as we need to, you know, and it's my pleasure to bring you all together. I wanted to start with two old friends, Andrei Codrescu and Reverend Billy Talon, who preaches this, has been preaching against consumption and for true equality, post-gender, world where we look at each other as human beings first and not judging or impeding people's hopes or aspirations based on other aspects of their existence. And so, Billy, hallelujah. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Hold on, Billy. You're there. We go. Okay, I think I muted. Maybe I muted you. Good morning, Reverend.
Hallelujah,
hallelujah,
Andy.
So, what's on your mind? Could you give us a little thumbnail picture of where you were last night and where we go from here?
Well, thank you for inviting me. I thank the forbearance of all of you who are dressed comfortably. I'm a preacher without a church here, so thank you for letting me don my garb here. I'm a satirist of right-wing televangelists who victimized me as a child and victimized me up till 5 minutes ago, actually.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I woke up really happy, and like all of us, and there was still partying going on in the streets here of Brooklyn. I asked myself, what was I wanted to go down into the reality of the feel good, and I remembered something about those victory speeches, which like all of us, I've listened to them all my life. You know, the unreal speeches of like self-congratulations. I mean, they're always They're always they're like Napoleon crowning himself, aren't they? And I realized that Trump had tainted the phrase greatness so thoroughly that last night Harris and Biden, neither one of them ended up their speech the way that all those speeches have always ended all my life, which is the United States is the greatest nation in the world. Am I right? Am I right, people? Hallelujah. Is that what we've?
Yeah, hallelujah.
Is that what we've put up with all these years? And I asked myself, what is this release that I feel? What is this freedom that I feel from this phrase? What is the greatest? I think I've always looked away because it made me wince because of my dislike for Donald Trump. I believe it's the American way for our particular kind of commercial manifest destiny democracy to approach divinity in the government, and that would be called the monarchy, wouldn't it? That would be called divine. It's the beginning of a new way of measuring. It's greatness. There's nothing beyond it. There's something mysterious beyond it that controls you. It invites a whole undermining of democracy, and we have always ended our speeches. Even Jimmy Carter. Even I remember specifically some of them that because it always bothered me. They always go straight to the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world. Now, if we were to be free of that, reassigned pretend monarchy that we're bringing on ourselves with that phrase, then what would be beyond that, or this side of it? What what else would happen? I think immediately of this summer's marches and Black Lives Matter. I think immediately of the hundreds of thousands of people just in New York, the freeways, the tunnels, the bridges. It was just people everywhere, and nobody could get into a car.
Right.
And there was an absence of hierarchy that was so pronounced that nobody knew who would speak. There was no stage anywhere. Maybe somebody might have a cheap bullhorn and jump up on a bench and shout for a while, but basically the flood itself was the point. Mm-hmm. The egalitarian nature of the ecosystem. It was I would say that without the word greatness and that incline to divinity, I think we went to a kind of natural world. And that's ideal. That's ideal. That's very idealistic, and we don't know what's going to happen. We just read a poll of 140,000 people. It was just published, and the people who voted for Biden and Harris, Black Lives Matter was of critical importance to the decision about their vote for more than 75% of them. So 20 million of us in 50 states being in this flood, this river of people, I think that was a subversion of that sneaky control that came in with that national narcissism embodied in the phrase greatness. Amen. That's the end of my sermon. Amen.
Yeah. Hallelujah. I'm with you. It's a big hallelujah moment, and redefining progress, thinking about how we define progress relates so much to, something just happened. Oh, good. Sorry. I thought I'd lost my screen for a second. Is a big part of the exploration right now, redefining community. And music is the key here. And poetry too. Andre, I know you have to go to the zoo in a bit in Brooklyn. So I'd love to have your reflection, poetic reflection. Andre Codrescu, longtime NPR commentator and Transylvanian origin poet and writer and observer of politics in all its dimensions, from totalitarianism through the 60s here in the United States and onward to where we are right now. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good, and in the spirit of Leonard Cohen and the Reverend, I think I'm going to use my oracular bibliomancy method to answer a question. And I was going to elicit a question from people here, but then Reverend Talon actually asked the question about greatness, and so I thought I would answer it simply by opening this book by Greg Masters, a poet's friend, whose new book called It Wasn't Supposed to Be Like This is just out. And so I opened it at random, and I came on this poem that I think answers that question and maybe many others too. It's for Bernadette's 75th birthday, Bernadette Mayer, another poet and friend. Being in the universe with you erases all it wasn't meant to do. Rhythms adjust when you walk by. Never is never enough an alibi. Art, not commerce, alights, defines, and delights. Endings only of books and films, the stuff of passing days, to filter the realms emanating from your gaze. So again, it's about a person, community, and a relationship that is intimate enough to mean something for everyone.
I posted a link, by the way. Bibliomancy is a word I had not really understood or known well until early in the pandemic. Andre was on and we were talking, and he explained it's the ancient art of when you face a question in life, grab a book of poetry and open it to a random page and the answer will be there. And so, and I just posted a link. Folks later can go back in this tape and look back and find where that early definition was described here. I love it. And I think it's a really good practice. At least it's a starting path toward solutions.
Yeah, thank you much. And it's a good thing to do with new books of poems to see if they're any good. You know, they should answer your question, because if they don't, they probably, you know, they take too much explanation. They aren't.
Wow. So it's now it would be a wonderful moment to transition to a little bit of music. And I have in the first half hour, we were going to focus on both Daniel Ramey and Ray Pierre Humbert, who's over in Oxford, the Halley Professor of Physics, a longtime climate scientist who literally wrote the book on climate science. His Twitter handle is @ClimateBook. and you'll see here, Richard Alley, Karen Alley are here as well, from the same family, both really wonderful musicians in their own special ways, very different ways. You'll hear from them in a few minutes too. But maybe Ray over in England, what's the view of America from over there right now? Obviously, you're from the United States originally, so you know, you've had a special focus on today, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump has never been very popular over here, but we have our sort of miniature Trump with the bad hair and everything, Boris Johnson, except that sort of blonde bad hair instead of orange bad hair. But we're still more in a reality-based community, and just the hostility towards international cooperation. It was something that was distressing across the board, even among most of the Tories. And so I think there's a big sigh of relief that we can move more towards international cooperation again. And although we have our problem with our Tory government, they're solidly behind efforts to decarbonize. Even Boris Johnson has not dropped the ball on that. So it's an encouraging thing that even a dyed-in-the-wool conservative government can have its feet planted in reality with regard to climate. So that's a good thing. And people here are I think looking forward to working with Biden. Even trade negotiations will be a lot easier with Biden, who can be trusted to keep his word. So that's more or less the view from over here.
And did you have your accordion handy? Is there some tune you want to play?
Actually, I'm doing the
today, great.
Yeah, it's and in fact,
ukulele.
What is it? Ukulele. Yeah,
ukulele.
Ukulele. Yes, ukulele. Yes, And I'm going to do something which is climate related. It's about cumulative. It's a song about cumulative carbon with apologies to Tennessee Ernie Ford. Some people say we're gonna run out of coal, and all you gotta do is dig a deeper hole, and you can bet that we're gonna put that carbon in the atmosphere. You burn 6 gigatons. What do you get? Another year deeper in carbon debt. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I sold my soul to anybody cold. I woke up one morning, I was swimming in oil. The fracking in the back and gonna make you a boil. They're talking down the Athabasca tar sands too. They can't get enough of that sticky black goo. You burn 8 gigatons. What do you get? Another year deeper in carbon debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I sold my soul to Peabody Coal. When global warming's coming, there's no place to hide from the universal planetary suicide. Mama Nature's got a dozen ways to kill. If the floods don't catch you, then the heat waves will. You burn 10 gigatons. What do you get? Another year deeper in carbon debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I sold my soul to Peabody Coal. Then they went bankrupt. Had to sell off my soul to pay the creditors. Got 10 cents on the dollar. I woke up one morning and the sun didn't shine. They shot sulfate aerosols to keep us from dying. Now the ozone layer's got a great big hole. And David Keith says, well, bless my soul, you burned 12 gigatons. What do you get? Another year deeper in carbon debt. Old Satan, if you call me, I'll be happy to go. It's getting hotter up here than the place below.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's fantastic, man. That is absolutely fantastic. Is that from years ago, or have you been updating the song? Or I had not heard this one.
Oh, well, about the time Dave Archer and I put together the music video, "Summertime in Chicago," we had started writing a whole bunch of climate songs, and so I started on this then, but I've been chipping away at it ever since. It's all inspired by liberated carbon.
Oh, that's good. Well, maybe I'll play that one toward the end. I'm appreciative of that idea that that I've inspired something. Really cool. And boy, that's such an amazing transition to Daniel Ramey at Resources for the Future, rff.org, who has dug in deep on the energy transition, quote unquote, whether you even could call it that. I could show the curves from his report a couple of years ago that argues we're not in an energy transition, we're in an energy addition, that we're accumulating these energy needs because humanity's energy needs are so great. And it's not yet shown signs of turning a corner toward rapid reduction in one of the options that's taken us where we are so far. So Daniel Ramey, how you doing in Ann Arbor, Michigan, or thereabouts?
Hi, Andy. It's great to be with you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right. So yeah, I'm in a
Yep. All good.
Today. Yesterday, I was very happy and had some friends over on our porch because it was a beautiful day, and we told our 2-year-old that there was a new president and that his name was Joe Biden, and his reaction was, "I'ma eat it." So we encouraged him not to try to eat the president.
Wait, say what his reaction was again.
"I'ma eat it. I'm going to eat it."
I couldn't quite hear. Yeah. Couldn't eat it. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
we'll all be dining on democracy, hopefully.
Indeed. And I don't have a lot of American flag paraphernalia, but I was wearing my American flag fanny pack yesterday. And what better to keep in an American flag fanny pack than a mask? So this is going to be my new accessory for at least a couple of days. And my wife will be very embarrassed.
That sounds like a good kit. That's a good kit for everybody to carry around. I like that.
I think it's pretty good. And Ray's song reminded me, one of the lines about Satan reminded me that the British in the 600s and 700s, when they first started to mine coal, I believe it was called the devil's excrement, for many years. And I guess that's where they thought that's where it came from. And maybe that might fit into the song somewhere.
I have to just mention something about. I once put together a talk about biblical issues with decarbonization and how it fits in with Christian virtues, and I called it Satan's Rock about coal. But the flyer that I caught beforehand had messed it up, and they called it Satan Rocks. But we caught that in the nick of time.
Well, that could work well for
that has merits too, though. I like that.
Yeah. So I was thinking about songs to.
So what do you have in the way of a tune this morning?
Yeah, I was thinking about songs to celebrate with, and this one came to mind. I've been thinking about it for a few days now. It's a song you'll all recognize. I think I usually play country songs and bluegrass songs on these Sundays, but this one is more of a jazz tune. It's a Hoagie Carmichael song, and I think you'll all get the import of it. I'm going to start off with a little bit of instrumental guitar, and then I'll sing a little bit, and you might recognize it from the instrumental bit. You might recognize it when I start singing. But here goes. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly, still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. In thinking of John Lewis.
My 22-year-old son, our 22-year-old son, Jack, is pledged to drive to Georgia the next few weeks to see what he can do to help with that runoff, to make sure that democracy keeps coming, which is pretty cool. He's a very motivated young guy. He was a Bernie bro who became a Biden bro, who was very resistant to Biden's, sort of consensus message, and now he's on that boat in a big way. It's kind of, Georgia is on everyone's mind right now, and Pennsylvania, Richard, and hello in Manitoba, Karen Alley. We're going to shift now to have a little focus on Richard Alley and his daughter Karen, who I first ran into in Boulder, maybe it was four years ago, when you were still pursuing your PhD, I think. Mm-hmm. And now you're in Manitoba.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you say that.
Working on it. Yeah, as of about, 2 or 3 months ago. It hasn't been very long here yet. And a little bit of a weird time to move to a new country. It's hard to explore the new city and get to know people right now. But fantastic place so far. We're happy to be here.
Have you run into Václav Smil at all yet? Do you know who he is?
I don't.
He's one of the world's great minds when it comes to the history of resource use, energy, power. He's written the book on virtually everything. I think Daniel Ramey agrees with me that you can't talk about energy choices without talking to him, or food, or the history. He's the most numerate an analyst of. Yeah, I've got the books too. right back there on that wall.
One of the most recent ones on energy.
Yeah.
Incredible encyclopedic.
He's emeritus now, I think, but he's still in Manitoba, I'm pretty sure. So I encourage you to look him up.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Karen is a glaciologist. I hate to say it, following in the family tradition,
Right?
but very much so. Did your dad drag you on expeditions, or how did that come about?
Didn't drag us on expeditions, my sister and I, but there was definitely a lot of slamming on the brakes to go see the road cut on the side of the road and that kind of stuff. No, I swore all my life I wouldn't go into his field, but he's the most enthusiastic scientist I've ever met, so it's hard not to be excited about this stuff.
I would say the same thing. I think if I could list 2 or 3, he would be one of the most enthusiastic scientists I've ever met as well. Maybe later I could show the video I shot of Richard, who's here with us as well, doing his little davening kind of dance of showing the Milankovitch cycle of Earth history. And his bald spot is the pole, and his nose is the equator. And so, Richard, yes, you are energetic and peripatetic and effective. You both as a communicator of climate science and as a practitioner. And Kurt Steger is here as well. I may not have introduced yet, from the Adirondacks, who has seen lakes come and go in Africa, the timescales that he focuses on in ways that are really important to thinking about Earth's history and its future. But Richard, and maybe we'll start with Karen. I got a huge response when I posted the video I shot of you doing the Glass Island reel on Twitter. There's, I think, 14,000 people have played it so far. And Hammered Dulcimer, I'll just say briefly for those who aren't familiar with it, 1970s, growing up in Rhode Island, I had a friend, Mike Boniuto, who, like me, was a folkie, and he had a hammered dulcimer and a fiddle, and we played on the streets of Newport, Rhode Island for the bicentennial celebration, 1976. And in 1976, as 2 teenagers, we were making $100 a day as street musicians, but it was all because of the hammered dulcimer. It's like there's some pull to that thing, that machine. How did you get into hammered dulcimer, and could you give us a demonstration and play something?
Yeah. So I'll just kind of let you see it a little bit better here. So that's the instrument right there. So this is a really, really old instrument. We don't really know where it originated, but this is many hundreds of years old. Predates the piano. I'm basically playing the inside of the piano here. So I've got the hammers in my hand, and I can strike the strings just like what goes on inside the piano. And yeah, I got into this. Actually, I have an uncle who plays, so I was a little bit familiar with it. But my wonderful parents got me into music very early, and my sister was a viola player in school, and she picked up the fiddle and started playing folk fiddle. And being the younger sister, I had to play the fiddle too, because she was doing it. So I started playing. Well, I was a terrible fiddler. But we went as a family. We went to a folk festival in Clarion, Pennsylvania, in Western Pennsylvania, and I saw a really phenomenal hammered dulcimer player named Mark Wade, who is in Northeast Ohio, play Flight of the Bumblebee on hammered dulcimer. And I was like, I need one of those. So it took a while to convince my parents that I promise I'll actually play this instrument and stick with it. But as soon as I got one, it was clear this was the instrument that I was meant for. So yeah, I can play a tune if you'd like.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I don't sing so much, so I don't have these themed lyrics that you all have. But this week, of course, everybody in Canada has been following the election closely. We voted absentee from here, and really right now it just feels like morning has broken. So I'll play that one for you.
Morning has broken. Morning has broken. Holy moly. Morning is broken here, I'll tell you. That was beautiful. Donna Nessler, who normally would be on this show, says Georgia was wonderful too, and she loves Hammered Dulcimer. She says, you play so smoothly. Guess I should pull out one of mine and do some learning. Donna will be back on here. She'll be back on here with her ukulele and her concertina, I guarantee. Donna, it's great to see you out there.
There's no better time to pull out a hammered dulcimer and start learning. It's been a really interesting time during the pandemic because everything's moved online, and the hammered dulcimer community is traditionally not particularly tech savvy, and so it's been an adventure. But we've got teaching an online festival next weekend and a few others coming up. And
wow.
Yeah, it's a great way to get people together. A lot of people can't come to festivals normally. It's been a silver lining to all of this. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So, and now for something completely different from your father, that soothing, mellifluous, layered, sophisticated sound of a hammered dulcimer just fills your head with, your blood pressure goes down, you get lost in the music. And Richard, when I first heard him sing, he dives in like a, we were talking about his energy and enthusiasm. And your imitations of Johnny Cash, the song about the Pacific Rim of Fire is fantastic. So can we have an offering from you? I don't think we mind that it might be jarring coming after that.
Yeah.
That mystical. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Huge grin on here in case you're curious. This is a fantastic thing. So it's great to see you all, and we're doing fine. So what I thought I would do, point out that she has to tune that thing. It's fantastic. So at any rate, I'm a glaciologist. I see collapses, I do abrupt climate change, I do sea level rise. I have had the great honor of co-authoring a paper with Karen. So I've now achieved fame because
I saw it yesterday. I was looking it up.
And what I thought I would do is I teach a class on how glaciers work. And ice sheet collapse, sea level rise, and so on. And I'm going to do the review for the class for you. And because it's actually a class and it's a review, I'm going to share my screen and show the PowerPoint. And so we're going to share the screen, and we have to select the window to share. And so what we're going to do is we're going to share Snowflake 2020 and see if this doesn't work. And we're going to allow that. And then we're going to put this up here. My dear wife, Cindy, who's a geologist turned librarian turned quilt teacher, is doing that. So do you by any chance see us?
I do. I'm going to wait till she pulls up the actual slide. I see the gallery of slides. So if she can open it.
You do not see the show? Okay.
No, it's there. No, it's there. I just, here we go.
Okay.
See, that's
so
where we
now
are
we
right
should
now.
see a snowflake out. And then if she clicks one, you should see the next line.
Right now, I'm still seeing the gallery view of.
Okay. So we have to fix it.
Hit play show. Hit this. Play.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we had this working perfectly. So now we're going to.
That's the way this always happens.
Sharing. We're going to share again.
Yep.
What do we want to share is we're going to share screen. Window we want to select is entire screen. Now we got it. We're going to allow this. We're going to go to this. We're going to go to this. And now you should see it.
There it is. Yeah. And here it comes.
Okay. So the tune, by the way, this one. It's earliest known in Middle English from about 1500. There's a manuscript at the British Museum. It was called Dame Whittlewaddle. So. Oh, a snowflake out. Wait, one more thing. I'm paper trained. The people at the Dulcimer thing say about people who put things in front of them in case their mind goes blank. So I have now put the paper where I can see it, right?
Got it.
It's not considered a good thing to be paper trained. But anyway.
I think it's fine.
Oh, snowflake out on a chilly night over the ocean of blue and white. Southern Cross is a guiding light headed for South Polo. Polo. You got the Southern Cross as a guiding light headed for South Pole. Over the albatross soaring through, the penguins flying the krill-flecked blue, got seals and skuas, great whales too, all playing round South Polo. Polo, polo, the seals and skuas and great whales too, all playing round South Polo. One flake's a miracle, two a display, three and you might wreck your car today, but make a 2-mile pile and they're on their way, flowing from South Polo. Polo, polo, a 2-mile pile and they're on their way, flowing from South Polo. The physics is simple, all piles spread, water batter or cats on a bed, or a continent-wide 2-mile piles no fed, and heading from South Polo. Polo, polo, a continent-wide 2-mile piles no fed, heading from South Polo. Slow in the middle, thick and cold, down through the mountains carved and old, picking up speed in the ice streams bold, don't fall in a crevasso, 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 picking up speed in the ice streams bold, don't fall in the crevasso. Ice streams at the sea don't make bergs right away. They flow across the ocean for many a day as a great ice shelf in a rock-bound bay, with friction from the sides, oh, the sides, oh, the sides, oh, got a great ice shelf in a rock-bound bay, friction from the sides, oh. If we raise CO2, warm the air and sea, melt the shelves away and let the pile spread free, it'll raise the ocean towards you and me, while it shrinks that 2-mile pile-o, 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 it'll raise the ocean towards you and me, and shrink that 2-mile pile-o. Oh, an Arctic fox on a chilly night at the edge of another ocean blue and white. If we melt their ice, would that be right? Both poles are on the same trail-o, trail-o, trail-o. If we melt their ice, would that be right? Both poles are on the same trail-o. Oh, a snowflake out on a chilly night.
That's great.
So we will share here. There you go. All right.
Yeah. We grew up singing Fox Went Out on a Chilly Night too, my family. So I guess we have some learning to do.
Oh, boy.
Are those lyrics posted somewhere? Or is this something people can kind of go online and learn how to sing?
They can, yeah. So, and this particular one, there's a bunch of YouTubes that came out of our class, and this is one of those. So, PSU rock video on YouTube will find it.
Okay.
All one word. PSU, Penn State University from Pennsylvania. PSU rock video will find Subduction is a Burning Thing. There's a beautiful one that Karen helped me with. She plays the flute, and we have Peaceful Easy Abduction. So,
oh my God.
She's a fantastic flautist too.
That's an amazing concept. I love it. I just posted there so people can see it. The PSU rock video on YouTube. Go find it. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the Ring of Fire one. Because you nail it with the black shirt and the pretty cool. So, and when I speak to scientists about communication, I point to you, but I do say, it's good to have tenure first. And I actually, with that in mind, I wouldn't mind jumping to Kurt Steger speaking. Kurt, I assume you have a named chair, right? So you're safe in all the things you do.
I'm safe. I am totally safe.
Everyone who wasn't here a week or so ago, Kurt Steger sang a song about, "Hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, you're so wrong for me." About some guy.
You're so creepy.
Creepy and whatever. So, but it looks like maybe it was just because of that song, Kurt, that this tipped in the direction it did. But
sure.
How are you doing? How are you doing up there in the Adirondacks?
I'm just psyched. My little town of Saranac Lake's a little island of blue and a sea of red up here in rural upstate New York. But I was just thinking one of the great things for me was just to see fantasy and baloney slamming into a solid rock of facts in public. Just to reestablish that there's a physical reality. It's just so great.
That even has that's got me. My mind is just catching up with that metaphor, like a piece of bologna crashing into a rock.
Yeah. Also psyched to be on here with Richard and Ray and Karen. Actually, Richard and Karen, we have a mutual friend, Ken Kolodner, that plays Hammered Dulcimer, and so
Ken was one of my early teachers.
Yeah.
I owe him a lot.
Wow.
And I was just thinking too, with all of us here, and then I'll play the tune. Is I always wanted to get something like this going for the American Geophysical Union conference or something. Have some sort of an open mic, science-y, climate-y, whatever, music talent show for participants or something. It might be worth thinking about.
There is one. I've hosted it for the last 7 years, and Andy played Integrated Carbon Tuesday nights of the AGU meeting, but not this year because we're not there.
Well, yeah, but Richard, actually, the Society of Environmental Journalists, maybe we could brainstorm this if it's not too late. They did a closing session of the SEJ conference for its first time online, and I pulled together some great musicians for it. So we could do that if it's not too late. I'll talk to Robin Bell.
Is that where we met, Andy? Because it was some kind of conference in Lake Placid. You came up and played the guitar and everything. It might have been that. But anyway.
Well, here we are, man.
Yeah.
All these years.
So,
and Karen, by the way, Karen and Ray, don't go anywhere. And Daniel, we'll get back to you too. And I just want to greet Reggie Harris, my good old friend from the music scene. And while we're at it, here's Claudia Gibson popping on as well. Claudia, going to add you in a second. From Texas. So we got the Adirondacks, we got the Heidelbergs, and I'll never get it.
One day.
We have Ann Arbor, Michigan. We have Manitoba. We have Oxford, England, and the Penn State area. And here's Claudia down in Wimberley, Texas. Hey, Claudia. Good morning to you. And Reggie, man, what a day, what a week, what a year, what a century, huh?
I'm still just taking a deep breath.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we all are. Partially because we're not done yet. So,
well, there you go. I'm taking a deep breath so we can move on.
Yeah.
Who's from Ann Arbor?
Dan Ramey lives in Ann Arbor.
Great. I'm going to be out there in a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
Oh, great. Drop a line. If the weather's good, we can meet up outside and
maybe
play some
music. I'd love
to. Oh, that's awesome. That would be great. Yeah. And just so people know, a week or so ago on the Monday show, the Difficult Conversations kickoff we had, Reggie was on with a distant relative, Wallace Raymer, from the lineage of Wickham, Williams Carter Wickham, whose statue was toppled in June. Reggie and the white side of his family, going back through the generations, in 2017, they had sought some of them to remove the statue in a different way. And we had an incredible conversation about your family's learning curve and stuff. So it's great to have you back. And, let's just keep in touch about so much.
Yeah.
But Kurt's got his glowing banjo up. And I would love to hear, just riffing off of Richard Alley just now.
Sure.
We had to start with a Kurt Steger, some Kurt Steger magic.
All right. Yeah. So I got our little lump of Satan's excrement right here to dedicate this song to.
Oh, by the way, Dan Ramey posted on Twitter that he actually got it wrong. It's oil is the devil's excrement. So I guess it's like the runs.
Well, it depends on the API number, right? Is that heavy oil, light oil,
oh my God,
sour, all kinds of.
Anyway, so this is with apologies or thanks to Eric Clapton about coal and not mining it anymore. And let me see if I can get this to work right here. Yeah,
you're doing
got to have the glowing banjo.
There we go. Coal vein. I played this with you.
You played with me. Andy did some great electric stuff with this. So just imagine Andy playing along too. coal vein. It'll drag it down, down underground coal vein. Please don't mind, please don't mind, please don't mind that coal vein. It's all shiny and black, it's addictive as crack, coal vein. It'll make you run from the wind and the sun, coal vein. Please don't mind, please don't mind, please don't mind that coal vein. We've been waiting too long while the wind is blowing and the sun shines above. When the heat is on and the ice is all gone, coal vein. Don't forget this fact, can't get it back, coal vein. Please don't mind, please don't mind, please don't mind that coal vein. Please don't mind, please don't mind, please don't mind that coal vein.
Unbelievable. So think about, I think we have almost half of an album here already. We got Ray's tune on cumulative carbon, Richard, coal vein, and I know you do a couple more. Holy mackerel, this is good stuff, you know. And when did you first come up with the idea of putting LED bulbs in your banjo? I mean, I don't think I've ever asked you that.
I always had a fantasy of being a rock and roll musician, and
that's
I always just play traditional instruments, and I thought, let's just see what it would be like.
I think it's kind of cool.
It works. I mean, it shines right through the head there. And it's nice with LEDs because they don't melt the head like the old kinds used to do.
I never, I wish I had shown that to Pete Seeger when he was alive. He would have actually embraced it. He would have loved it, I think. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Ray, did you have another short musical thought from Oxford, England there? I saw you had your ukulele back in hand.
I was trying to play along with That's a terrific song. Did Daniel have to leave soon? Because we can take Daniel first in the chat.
Yes. So Daniel, Dan Ramey, again, I'm loving your playing and singing here. I can't keep track of the chat and Twitter and everything else. So thank you, Ray, for the prompt. So do you have another tune to offer, Dan?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm here till noon. It's not a huge rush or anything, but I'll play a quick one. This is another song that I was thinking about. I used to, I had a job for a couple of years working with this organization called Rock the Classroom that sent me and other musicians into low-income schools in New York City and Los Angeles. And what we would do is we would try to teach literacy through music. And we would take songs that many people knew and help the kids basically write new words to those songs. And this is one of the songs that we used, and it was always my favorite one to do because the song itself is just so powerful. And this was right around 2007, 2008 when I was working with this organization. So Barack Obama had, just been elected, and it was an inspiring time. So this song comes to mind today. In fact, I got to figure out the right key to sing it in now. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, a hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. Oh, I'd ring out justice, and I'd ring out freedom, and I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, if I've got a song, I'd sing it in the morning, and I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. Oh, it's a song about justice, and it's a song about a freedom. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer, and I've got a song to sing, and I've got a bell to ring, well, all over this land. And it's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, and it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
Perfect. We were just talking about Pete Seeger.
Yeah, I love the Pete Seeger version is amazing. The one I always have in my head though when I do it is the Sam Cooke version.
Yeah.
Gosh, Live at the Copa maybe I think is what he does it on. Anyway, great song.
Wow. Yeah. So simple, so powerful, and once again, so resonant right now. People all over this land. It's we have a variegated landscape in America. Even as Richard and Kurt were saying, I mean, the Adirondacks in Pennsylvania, you look at the landscape there, it's a mosaic. The Adirondacks, I keep thinking of them as a model for both conservation futures and the general idea of a 6 million acre area that's park and snowmobiles and hunters and gun owners and right and left and red and blue and bird lovers and it all works out. It's not clean and neat, but it works out, and you're all neighbors. Yeah. Same thing in Pennsylvania. Richard, by the way, are you still Republican registered? I know you were for a long time.
It is true. That is my register.
Well, hallelujah. So you're a red speck with a blue leaning and a purple map.
We can have a long discussion on what went on, but I'm a scientist, and I'm a scientist, and I'm
there
a
you
scientist.
go.
So
I've never been more proud of my hometown of Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and I was watching them dancing in the streets. Wow. Powerful stuff.
Powerful stuff all around. Unbelievable. Thank you all for being here. We're going to go past the noon hour for those who can. And of course, it's not noon for some of you. But and Daniel Ramey, if you have to leave, just say farewell and pop off whenever you can. I'd love to get another tune from Karen Alley too, if you have a. And I mean, from everyone, if we could fit it in, because we do have some time. So Karen, do you have another?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I've, there's been plenty to follow in the news this year, but I as Andy already mentioned, I did my PhD in Boulder, Colorado, and so one of the things that I've been following very closely this year is the fires in Colorado, which were just absolutely devastating. And not too long before I left Colorado, I wrote a tune which I called "Snow in the Mountains," which was it took on a whole different meaning this year. The snow that blanketed the Troublesome Creek fire, and so I'll play that one here for you.
Beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. And you can feel it. You can kind of hear it. I was going to turn to Ray, but you got me thinking about a tune I wrote that I haven't performed in this show yet. That if everyone's okay, if we have time to kind of stretch into noon, I might throw in here. It was also about Boulder. It was about Boulder and about a flood in the 90s. And that my wife, who was getting her master's degree in science education way back then, environmental ed, and she spent a summer at the NOAA facility in Boulder, and they had a this spring flood that got me thinking the way it played out. Hopefully this will, I don't want the guitar to I'm using a guitar that I haven't used before. So let me just make sure this all, can you hear me? With June up in the Rockies, not to unbalance. All right, well, let's try this then. It's called The Flood. And, and Donna, wow, hey, Donna. There she is. So hold on 1 second. I'm going to maximize my screen and give it a shot here. And I haven't played it in like a long time, but it's so relevant. All right, so here it goes. And if everyone can mute for a second, that'd be cool. So here, Donna, I'll just mute you. Hear it. It was June up in the Rockies. The sun was beating down. The deep snow fields were melting fast. The creeks ran wild and brown. Streams all joined together in a once-in-a-lifetime roar. No problem, said the engineers. Those dams can handle more. Meanwhile, way down in the tourist towns, like always, life was good. Some merchants printed t-shirts saying I survived the flood. But a thunderstorm was building like no one could recall. Black anvil clouds, they rose so high, they made those Rockies small. It seems like nature has a habit of cleaning up mistakes. Don't build a town on a mountainside unless you like high stakes. Well, the wind howled like a wounded wolf. Niagara Falls, it rained. High in the thundering canyons, the dams began to stray. The engineers were sweating now as they tapped computer keys. Their worst case calculations look like reality. They say that nature has a habit of cleaning up mistakes. Don't build a town on a mountainside unless you like high stakes. Well, the people building condos and driving 4x4s and playing golf on perfect greens and shopping fancy stores. They never knew what hit them until it was too late. A freight train wall of water, it wiped clean their whole slate. They'd say that nature has a habit of cleaning up mistakes. Well, don't build a town on a mountainside unless you like high stakes. No, wait a minute. I got the words up because it's been so long. The storm rolled east all through the night. Flood waters ebbed away. As first light hit the Rockies, the townsfolk were amazed. The mountains gleam like silver, malls and condos gone. The people smiled, some embraced. The world, it looked newborn. They say that nature has a habit of cleaning up mistakes. Well, don't build a town on a mountainside unless you like high stakes. There you go.
You could rewrite that and don't build a town on a forest line.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, it's the whole thing.
So many different.
If anyone's interested, just search on Twitter for the hashtag expanding bullseye. the work of Stephen Strader and Walker Ashley. I've been promoting their research for a long time, geographers who have mapped the rising vulnerability we're creating, building, settling, both in rich and poor places for different reasons. And we're doing that at a faster pace than climate is changing. The climate change problem, the carbon problem, cutting all the carbon that we've been pushing into the atmosphere right away doesn't really change the dynamics of the system for decades because it's such a lag time. In the meantime, we're creating a bullseye saying, hey, throw more darts at us. So it's a two-pronged problem, and it often gets perceived as just a one-pronged problem. And we're living in hazard zones, many of us. Karen Brooks is here too, and Donna Nestler is down by the waterfront there. I don't see her in the picture. So it's great that you guys could pop in, but we have a little bit more to hear from some of our wonderful guests. Look at this great array of human beings right here. This is a great slice of humanity. I want to get some youngins on here. That we had some kids on. Stephen Quilly, who's a philosopher and policy guy. He's going to come on soon. He had his fiddling family. The kids are amazing. Came on, so I got to get kids in here. Everyone else has been great. Ray, you said you had another tune to offer from Oxford.
Yes, this is a Pete Seeger tune. That's
and then we're going to get to our latest cohort, Reggie and Claudia.
I've always wanted to do this sort of tuning up thing. You can tune up while you're trying to think about what you're going to.
It's an ancient Asian tune. Tuning.
Yeah. The accordions are tuned with a blowtorch and solder. So you'll never see the accordionist stand up and say, "Give me a G, guys." We're okay here. But so this is a Pete Seeger tune. This tune has been kind of the soundtrack to my life for the last 4 years. And then when I woke up on Wednesday morning and saw the initial result, boy, I just couldn't get this out of my head. It's Pete Seeger. I never had the chance to meet him. I really am envious of Andy having a chance to play with Pete. We do this sort of thing to sing along, and this is something I like to, and especially thinking of Reggie's voice and Claudia's voice along with this. But I hope everybody out there is going to sing along. So in fact, I'm going to put the words, try to share the screen, and put the words up.
Well,
it's not up yet. Okay.
I can do it from my end if you. But anyway, try it.
Yeah. How's
there
that?
There we go. Yep, it's coming.
Yep, good. Okay, so I hope everybody will be singing along. But it's I'm nervous about doing one of the great Pete Seeger songs, but I think Pete wouldn't mind because songs come from the heart and not just from the larynx. So here we go. So, don't you know it's darkest before the dawn, and it's this thought keeps me moving on. If we could heed these early mornings, we find it still quite early morning. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now quite early morning. Some say that humankind won't long endure, but what makes them so doggone sure? I know that you who hear my singing could make those freedom bells go ringing. I know that you who hear me singing could make those freedom bells go ringing. So we keep have no more to give. And when these fingers can strum no longer, hand the old uke to young ones stronger. And when these fingers can strum no longer, hand the old uke to young ones stronger. So though it's darkest before the dawn, it's these thoughts keep me moving on through all this world of joy and sorrow. We still can have singing tomorrows through all this world of joy and sorrow. We still can have singing tomorrow. Don't you know it's darkest before the dawn? And it's this thought keeps me moving on. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now quite early morning. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now quite early morning.
That's so beautiful. And again, so apt. Our dear departed friend, Pete Seeger, makes me emotional to hear that. It's still early morning. And look at that. The younger generation is here, sitting on Daniel's lap. Can you introduce your progeny there?
This is Julian. Julian, what do you want?
Julian.
Can you tell everybody what he was just saying more as soon as Ray stopped?
More. Oh, a fan. I love a fan. Yes.
There's going to be more right now. Hey, Julian. So how old is Julian?
Julian, can you say hello?
How old are you?
He's 2.
2. Awesome.
Julian, how many is this?
2. Oh, wow. Great. Well, Reggie and Claudia, I'd love this is kind of your moment. We've kind of gone long here, and it's great that you can hang in a little longer.
Well, hey, it's a slightly open, expansive day, and I've just been really loving these songs, and this building of community is just such a nourishing thing. So I'm just hanging this morning, which is kind of unusual and nice.
I know you've been relentlessly on the run. I love some of the stories you've told here recently, like that just before the election, you had sort of a Trump rally and a Black Lives rally on the same green up there and Copelskill, and you were able to find a way to talk across those borders. Some of this won't be resolved by talk. Some of it will be resolved in other ways by law and regulation and but our system requires consensus. If we want to get anything big done here, it's going to require Congress. So getting across some of these bridges is really a key,
Really is. I was just, sharing that story again, and the fact that the breakthrough came when in the midst of our emotional expressions of opinion, it just dawned on me to say, hi, my name is Reggie. Completely unplanned and in the moment. And he looked at me and literally he said, what?
Interesting. You broke that.
Yeah.
We all have this architecture for arguing with people.
Yeah. And, despite all of our talk about, what we believe and what we think we're about, we get caught up in the moment. And, the energy was going with me. And I thought, stop. Just stop. And that was the only thing I could think to say. My name is Reggie. And and then he said, "My name is Joe," and the whole air changed, and yeah, so it's just the constant reminders that this stuff is not easy to do.
No, and as you said, though, just now, and Terry Tempest Williams a couple of days ago on the show, a beautiful essayist from Utah, who was in a deep discussion with her brother, who's a working class, 6:30 in the morning excavator guy who'd voted for Trump. And they were together as a family, and she was saying she just wants to understand him. He said, "You don't see me." He said, "You do not see me." And we're going to do more of these difficult conversation sessions for sure, which Reggie helped kick off a week ago. Every Monday, not every Monday, but on Mondays going forward, a lot of what I'll be doing on this webcast is looking at the architecture of dispute, the architecture of consensus, practices that can shift things. And I think music is one of those practices. One of our friends, I know Karen and Donna know him well, is a cowboy singer who is very conservative, but we sing together as a first step toward communion. So Reggie, do you have a tune in mind on this amazing day?
Well, I do.
Oh yeah.
So many are going through my head. And this afternoon, later this afternoon, I'm leading a group in Indiana. Well, part of them are Indiana. We're global now, so it doesn't really matter kind of where you are. But at any rate, I'm going to lead some songs there, and I was thinking of what I might lead there. But this won't be one of those. This is one of the songs that'll be on my new CD. As I said, this has been a very fertile time, and I was just looking at some videos to share with a class that I was going to meet with, and the video I came up on was right after C.T. Vivian died. And that amazing moment when he was standing on the steps of the courthouse in Selma and stuck his finger in the face of Jim Clark and said, "We are willing to be beaten for justice." I thought in that moment, first of all, what a statement. And what a statement to a white man who had a gun in, 1965, So that got me thinking, and so this is what happened. Selma, Alabama, 1965. A group of people standing in the rain. They came for resolution that was missing from their lives. Come to end the terror and the pain. For 100 years of hatred, abuse and savage lies, fighting segregation and despair. They came in hope, believing that the world would hear their cries. One man stuck his finger in the air. He said, "We're willing to be beaten. We will never go away. Did you hear what we had to say? We will never go back. We will never go back. Got our eyes on the prize. Got this train on the track. We are here in freedom's name. And there's nothing you can do to make us wear those chains again." Now here in the minute of this moment, in a future where we say that we are free, the forces of evil and oppression are still here for every open eye to see. We are fighting in the battle of a lifetime, taking down hated symbols one by one. Like our elders, we're fighting for the future. In their name, we must do what must be done. We are willing to be beaten. We will never go away. You'll hear what we have to say. We will never go back. We will never go back. Got our eyes on the prize. Got this train on the track. We are here in freedom's name. And there's nothing you can do to make us wear those chains, singing freedom. Singing freedom, singing freedom. We are here in freedom's name. Singing freedom, singing freedom, singing freedom. We are here in go back. Got our eyes on the prize, got this train on the track. We are here in freedom's name, and there's nothing you can do to make us wear those chains again.
Wow. Beautiful, powerful, and hopeful. You know, I just was looking on Twitter. There was a lot of coverage right now of what Stacey Abrams has done in Georgia in terms of giving voice, like actual voice, 800,000 additional voter voices in that state. Thinking of the work that went into that and the struggle that's still going to play out in Georgia. And so much of this is framed around empowering communities that have literally been locked out. It's just a great song.
I was just struck by the fact that the other day I was watching the shop. It's on what's it on? I think it's on HBO, but you can find it online other places. LeBron James started doing this, and you know it's in a black barbershop, and of course now it's,
right.
And he had Barack Obama on. And they were just talking about the fact that Barack Obama was in the conversation that the NBA was having about how they could go forward, and he was just remembering that Shaq voted for the first time, and LeBron's mother voted for the first time, and all these other people voted for the very first time. They finally found buy-in to the system.
Amazing. Boy, sustaining that now is a key.
Yeah.
Not just the existing push, but keeping it going. Someone was saying yesterday, democracy is a verb. You know, it's a process. It's not a thing. It's a system characteristic that has to be maintained. It's like everything that's tough. Wow. Now Texas stayed blue, but
no, it stayed red.
I mean, it stayed red, but it's heading in it's heading in a direction of blueness, and it's the country there's plenty to agree on. Texas, people forget that under Rick Perry, the country had its biggest expansion of wind power ever.
Yeah.
In that 10-year stretch or so. Wind power is not Iowa. There was an amazing New York Times graphic showing state by state energy mix, and Iowa has this unbelievable transition from a coal base. You just look at the spike, and it's like wind is basically their dominant source of electricity, just the electricity market now, in a matter of years. So, and that Iowa, didn't go into the Democrat column this year, but clearly you can have nonpartisan agreement on very important components of what needs to happen going forward.
Yeah. And the windmills won't give you cancer, so.
Yeah, but I know. God, science, march for science, vote for science. Here we are. Maybe some rationality will return to our national landscape.
It would be nice. One of my sons is a scientist, so it's nice.
Cool.
Yeah, to see.
So Claudia, the eternal question. What's on your musical mind this morning? I think you said you have a champagne hangover.
Oh yes, yeah. We were we had a big family Zoom call last night, and when you're chatting with people, it's like, oh yeah, another glass of champagne. So, yeah, it's so hopefully I'll be able to play okay. I gotta turn my. I'm not used to it's I remember in my young rock band days, you'd get kind of tipsy if you were playing 4 sets in a bar, by the end of it. But playing with a hangover is not something that's normal for me. So
yeah.
Anyway, and shouldn't be, right? It's good for that. I'm gonna play. I was looking at a couple different songs, but I think I'll play an original song because it was a song that I originally wrote because I had gone to see a bunch of songwriters playing, and one of them, Bruce Robinson, had said something like, "I feel like it's not my world anymore," and this was like, he said, it used to be my world, but it's not, and this was long before all this election stuff. It was many years ago, but yeah, you come to a point when you realize you're not, you don't understand the slang or whatever. But now I think it's a little different to the words, especially in the last verse. So anyway, this is called "The Days." days. Memories as warm as the nights of June and July, the summer haze, county roads and city days. We laughed till we nearly cried, and loved so hard I thought that we would break. It was our world, it was our time. We made all our plans to leave the old behind. Those were our days. Those were our days. Maybe it's not my world anymore. It's burning like a house on fire. I can't tell what all the hurry-up's for, but the truth still resonates. The spark in a lover's eye, clear blue skies and what feels like fate. 'Cause this is the world and these are the times. And keeping what's best, we'll leave the rest behind. These are the days. These are the days. These are the days. These are it's a new world, these are new times. We got some plans, yours and mine. These are the days. These are the days. These are the days. These are the days. The days. The days.
Beautiful.
You.
These are totally the days. What a time, you know. There was a guy, Stuart Hart. He teaches at the business school, I think, at Cornell, who I heard him give a speech once where he was talking about what's called chronocentrism, meaning that every generation feels it's special. That, you know, think back in time, World War One, the 1918 pandemic, so many, the Civil War, and where we're going through now with the Anthropocene and the climate surge and the pandemic and our political dysfunction and the emergence of an information environment that no one understands yet, the social media challenge, all at once, even as we're surging toward 9 billion, 9.5 billion people, and everyone wants a decent life. So boy, if there ever was a time to think chronocentrism is valid, it's right now. And you can look at that and be horrified especially as as a young person, or you can look at that and say, "Wow, what a privilege to be alive at a time like this, where you can do one little thing that can tip the balance toward betterment or complexity or conflict or not." And I think everyone on this call today warms my heart to know how many of you are working hard in different ways, different spheres, different professions, to do that, to reach across, to convey things more clearly, to get into better conversations. And it's just very gratifying. Donna Nestler, you're on your boat. I can't tell you if you're there or not. The camera is turned on.
She's there. I can see her.
Donna, can you hear us? Well, I'm hoping to get a tune from her. And oh yeah, but Donna, we need to see you. If you, I want to know if you're going to sing something. Hey, it's great to see like sunshine and stuff. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to get the boat covered. So
I guess
I'm just providing the view for you. I don't have any instruments on the boat. They're down in the car, and I'm not calming down.
All right. Well, it's great to have you here from the waterfront, as always.
Yeah.
Kurt Steger, I think you had a tune in mind. I know you before we come toward a close here, and I'd love to hear one more from Reggie and one more from Claudia too. It's been a great morning.
That's
great day. And for those out west, thank you for tuning in early, Richard and Karen. What's the time? Are you in the like 2 hours earlier time zone there, or is
Just
that?
we're in Central.
Oh, okay. And is Manitoba gearing up for winter yet?
Starting to. We had beautiful weather last week, but I think we'll get some snow pretty soon here.
All right. So, Kurt, what you got?
Yeah, just sort of on the theme. I'm hearing a lot of us sort of feeling the same way. I'm hoping we can all sort of pull together as a species. We've always been really diverse, and one thing that struck me was, the hard use we've been putting on our system here, but realizing it was created for this kind of culture. I mean, the same divisions were here when we started the country. And, a lot of the founding people despised each other. And yet we pull it together. So we have a system that lets us rock the boat. And as long as we don't kill each other, this is what it's for. So anyway, on that note, here's This Land Is Your Land, Kia G.
And boy, I can't wait till we have bandwidth sufficient that we can all sing along.
Yeah. And I added a verse at the end here too. Folk process. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I've roamed and rambled and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of the diamond deserts. And all around me a voice was saying, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. There is a left wing, there is a right wing. Sometimes the difference is kind of frightening. But the U.S. Eagle soars on both wings. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California islands, from the redwood forests to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
I'm muted. It was made for you and me, and it will be tended and managed and made by you and me and everyone. That's the key. It's a management. Getting people inclusively involved in the path from here is a really important thing. Great tune.
Thank you.
Nice banjo playing too.
Thanks.
And I love that left wing.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's really, really tough to deal with each other when we're so different. But like as scientists, right? Science is a communal effort. No one has all the answers. We need everybody for these giant problems. We got to learn to live together, because if you see things differently, it means you're seeing things differently. And that's important.
And there's a science, just as we all know, there's those of us like in climate communication, we know there's a science of science communication. There's also a science of conversation. That's what I didn't realize until I came to Columbia. My colleague, Peter Coleman, who runs the Difficult Conversations Laboratory, has led me to lots of learning on that there's a science there too. And Reggie stumbled into a great practice, which is break the pattern. Hi, I'm Reggie.
Yeah.
And Peter, who's been in mediation, he does mediation stuff around like the most intractable problems in the world, Middle East peace. There's things you do. You walk and talk. You don't sit and talk. And he was laying out those practices. So I'm going to be really focused on that going forward. I think it's a keystone to our moment here. So with that in mind, Reggie, to you one more time, and Claudia, if you can.
Well, this is a song I learned years ago. A friend of mine introduced me to it, sending me an album of, actually a cut from an album by Art Garfunkel. And I thought, wow, what a cool song. And we all know Art Garfunkel doesn't write. So I thought, who wrote this song? Well, it was a group of Africans who were in exile in France, and called Osibisa is the name of the group. The song speaks for itself, so... We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We'll know we're there. We will get there, heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. Oh, it will be hard, we know. And the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. We are going, heaven knows how, where we are going. Oh, we know we're there. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. Why-ya-ya, 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 why-ya-ya.
Splendid.
Deep in my heart, I do believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not knowing that you don't know, is one of those mysteries of human experience. Keeping on, even though you don't know.
Making a way out of no way.
Yeah.
I
Great
love those
song.
versions. Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
I love that song. It's beautiful.
Claudia, we're coming toward the end here today, and we've extended this wonderful. I could do this all day, but nature is calling out there too. It's a beautiful
Yes.
day here in the Hudson Valley, and
It is.
hopefully
It
it's a
is.
beautiful day in many ways, even if the weather sucks for people today somewhere.
It's beautiful here too. Every day's a good day, right?
Right now.
Given the alternative. Well, I was struck. This song I'm gonna do is also, it's not a song of mine, but I play it sometimes, and I think it's so apropos, even though it was probably written 40 years ago. But it struck me before when you were saying that it's talking is better when you're walking, or when you're doing something. And I've been working to train a dog I adopted this summer, who doesn't always react well to other dogs. But so to introduce dogs that may not get along, you walk with them. Like you walk with them first on either side of you. Another person has the other dog and they walk on the outside. And then when they get used to walking, then you can put them together, so where they're walking on the inside of the owners. And, they don't want to fight when they have to concentrate on, moving and going forward. So maybe if we can find a way, I know it sounds a little Pollyanna-ish, but to be working on things that we agree on going forward, we won't have time to be pigeonholing each other and fighting. I have a lot of songwriter friends out here in Texas who we don't get along politically at all, but we agree to respect each other, and that's it.
Before you play your tune, I'm just going to show people the slide. I was mentioning this earlier because it just relates so strongly to what you just said about Iowa and wind power. So Iowa is deeply divided, right, over politics. But look what happened there. This is 2001 to 2019 energy use for electricity generation in Iowa. Coal collapsed, boom. And most everywhere around the country, when coal collapses, it's being replaced by natural gas, which has benefits, but still a fossil fuel. And here, wind, zoom. I want to find out more about that. That was in the New York Times. So there's plenty we can agree on, as Claudia just said.
Yep. It's
back
true.
to you.
Anyway, this was a song. I think Nick Lowe kind of put it all out there in this one. As I walk through this wicked world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? And each time I feel like this inside, there's one thing I want to know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Whoa, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? As I walk on through troubled times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes. Where are the strong, and who are the trusted, and where is the harmony, sweet harmony? 'Cause each time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me wanna cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Whoa, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Such a great song, Nicola. You every time, and your take on the song is really beautiful too. I like how you slow it down, and it's just got real power to it.
Thank you.
What a beautiful morning, and I hope everyone who's been listening can embrace whoever's nearby, embrace somebody over Zoom if you need to, get busy, support the causes you think are important right now. You know, this election is not over really until the runoff in Georgia is over in January, and that will determine the Senate. And without the Senate, a lot of the plans of the Biden administration will be much harder to accomplish. And not that that even is a magic bullet, but it's directionality, support, and sustained engagement. I just want to thank everyone here deeply for being part of this today. Karen, Alley in Manitoba, fantastic hammered dulcimer, and glaciology, and Richard Alley from Penn State, who I've been learning from for 20 years on the climate beat, and is a great communicator in his own special way, whether it's speaking about the stuff or playing Johnny Cash style tunes. Ray Pierre Humbert at Oxford, reminding us of Pete Seeger's power. Reggie Harris, thank you so much for being a frontline worker in all of this and everything you do. And we're going to be doing more of those difficult conversation sessions with Peter Coleman and others. Kurt Steger, great communicator in the Adirondacks, a magnificently complicated landscape that has figured out a way to sustain forests and livelihoods and commune, even though there might be disputes about the noise of snowmobiles once in a while or the like. So, and Claudia Gibson, and everyone who came earlier, Billy Parrish, Reverend Billy, Andre Codrescu, the poet, and Daniel Ramey, great songwriter, great performer, and great energy analyst earlier in the day too. Thank you all. So this is a Sustain What? It's a global online conversation identifying solutions to the complicated, shape-shifting, and epic challenges of humanity's great acceleration. That was the last half century as we were in Zoom mode, and now this virus has imposed kind of a great pause on us, and we have to figure that out in a hurry because it's getting worse. A prime focus of this project is making sense of and getting the most out of the planet's fast-forward information environment. It's the one Earth system changing faster than the actual biogeophysical environment around us, and we don't understand it very well, and we need to understand it, use it better. It's produced as part of my work building Columbia University's new Earth Institute initiative on communication and sustainability, trying to figure out ways to make information and connectivity matter a little more than they do. As soon as we're done, share the link you're watching on with friends in circles far and wide. This all gets archived immediately, and you can replay it, look at the links for more stuff. Get in touch with me with ideas. Look at that distracting scrolling info bar at the bottom for ways to do that. And I just want to show a slide or two showing you where we're going from here. Tomorrow, every Monday, I try to do these more instructional. They're not instructional. They're not really tutorials. They're learning journeys on how to. The Monday ones are called Thriving Online. They're on how to communicate more effectively, and it's on humor. Luckily, we can all smile a little bit more than we were maybe a couple of days ago, and so humor matters. I have three great folks to describe that. Possibly a couple others coming on, and on Wednesday. Another thing we have to get used to is uncertainty, deep uncertainty. There's actually a society for decision-making in deep uncertainty. I got to speak at their meeting a few years ago, and this is a normal practice. We do it every day, but we seem to forget that sometimes, that you don't just stall and sit on your hands just because things aren't clear. So that'll be on Wednesday this week. And again, thanks to my friends. Thanks to all of you for being here today. You're really a treasure for this planet. And stay at it. Stay at it, what you're doing. I'm going to close things out. You can all pop off if you want to, or you can listen to our other good friend, Tom Chapin, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago and laid out a tune that I think is a great closing goodbye for everybody watching today. So here we go. And I'm going to remember to do the magic tab that says share. Is this the one? I think this is him. All right, here we go. So have a listen to this as we say farewell.
When the door is open, you are welcome here. When the door is open, leave out all doubt and fear. We'll plant a seed together, and together watch it grow, and learn once more what we already know. Lift up your voice, rejoice in what we've found. Let every heart take refuge in the sound. Feel the walls around us tremble, we will surely bring them down, and find ourselves on common ground. Find ourselves on common ground. This is how we celebrate our song and dance and art. This is how we touch the future, how we touch your heart. Tell your story to a child and they'll take it as their own. This is how we learn we're not alone. Lift up your voice, rejoice in what we found. Let every heart take refuge in the sound. Feel the walls around us tremble, we will surely bring them down, and find ourselves on common ground. Find ourselves on common ground. I haven't played this in a while. In our time together, I begin to understand there are bridges we can only cross together, hand in hand. Soon we'll head on homeward, we'll go our separate ways, but these echoes will be dancing down our days. Lift up your voice, rejoice in what we found. Let every heart take refuge in the sound. Feel the walls around us tremble, we will surely bring them down and find ourselves on common ground. Find ourselves on common ground. Oh, put my earphones on so
So take care, everybody. I love how that auto harp sonority just continues. He talked about echoes, man. That just goes and goes. Thank you all. Keep at it. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay hopeful. Bye-bye.